Namespace means current calling program. If we have written import math, it will create a reference to the math module in the current calling program. That means namespace. If we have written import math, area, now math and area modules are in current namespace. Instead of that thing, if we have written from math import asterisk, all the modules of the math will be available in the current namespace. From there we can use in our program. From math import power, if you have written only that much, it will import math module but create reference in the namespace only for power. That means only for that particular object which is residing in the math module. Now we are going to see some key points regarding namespace. Name is always essential to access Python objects. If we are having a name for a Python object, it can hold any kind of value, so that name will be get mapped to this particular object. Name must be unique. Namespace is used to distinguish between different sections that name is written. And namespace is used to define scope of that particular object name. It helps to avoid name conflicts. Whenever we are writing names, it must be always unique. Otherwise, it will lead to conflict. Python implements namespace in the form of a dictionary. Names acts as keys and objects acts as values. Multiple namespace can have same name but point to different variables. There are 4 types of Python namespace. It can be even called as variable scope. One is global, another one is local, then built-in and enclosing. Whenever we are starting a Python interpreter, it will create a built-in namespace for that particular program. It holds all the built-in names in Python for our program. Because of that, we are able to use print function, id function, type function, etc. Each module creates its own global namespace in Python. When we call a function, local namespace is created for all the names in it. In this particular program, we are going to see the difference between import and from commands. In the first section, I have explained import, and in the second one, I am going to explain from command. In the import test coding, it will create 2 namespaces in that particular program. One for the original program namespace, another one for the test module. That means a separate namespace will be created for the imported module. So the original namespace will have its own current names will be written in that one, along with the module which is going to come as test. And there will be separate memory namespace for the test module. There we will have test date, T1, T2, T3 functions, and a lot many other variables which you have created in that particular module. For them also namespace will be there. See in the second example, from test import T1, T2, T3. In that particular program, there won't be a separate memory space for the test module. Instead of that thing, this particular statement tells that T1, T2 and T3 we are going to use in our program, which are the part of test module. So along with the current namespace of the original program, these T1, T2, T3 will be get attached. So it reduces memory space which is being used in a programming language. Python uses namespace to keep track of the variables which are used in that particular program. A namespace, it is going to just act like a dictionary where keys are the names of the variables and dictionary values as the values of those variables. So it can be written as within curly brackets variable colon value. Now we are going to see name resolution of a Python program. That means Python is going to resolve the scope of a variable which is used in a program. For every name reference in a program, Python follows this particular rule, name resolution rule. It is also known as LEGB. L stands for local, E stands for enclosing, G stands for global, and B stands for built-in. That means whenever it is seeing a name reference, it will first search in the local namespace, local environment namespace. If it is there, it will work with that one, or else it will go to the second step. That means step number E. It will search in the enclosing environment of that particular program. If it is there, it will make use of it. Otherwise, it will move to the third step because we didn't find that particular variable in the current working environment of that particular program. Then it will go and search in the global environment or global namespace. If it got there, it will make use of that value. Otherwise, it will go to the fourth step. There it will search in the built-in environment of the Python. If it is not able to understand that particular variable even within that built-in namespace, it will create an error to the program. This is a picture representation of LEGP rule. The name will be going to get searched in the local namespace. If it is not there, the interpreter will go and search in the enclosing namespace. If it is not there, again it will go to the global namespace. At last, it will even search in built-in namespace of that particular Python program. If it couldn't find there also, it will report an error to you.